Coming up on this week's show, we talk about Russell T Davies starting his new era of Doctor Who today. The very last episode of Doctor Who, Flux. Jodie Whittaker talks a little bit more about her final days of filming Doctor Who, and a Doctor Who theme park might just be a little bit closer to reality than we first thought.
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am.
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one you expect.
Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello everybody and welcome back to Big on the Inside, the New Who, Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. You may be surprised that you are hearing me, Tim Saxby, say those words, because normally that's over to Harry Murdoch. But for the first time in a long time, Harry isn't here. And like an old relic that I'd forgotten about, I went into the attic of the Bigger on the Inside studio and I dusted off Harrison
Harrison.
Harry.
That pronunciation was something.
Harrison Tinley is here. He is back. You will know Harrison from we've done our Big Finish videos back in the day, and also filling in for Harry.
Yes.
When Harry's not here.
Yeah.
How are you, Harrison?
I'm all right, mate. I'm hyped to be here again to actually be on the news live. No, this is interesting. It's a bit of change up. I've tried to, be my best at doing a poor man's Harry Murdoch.
Can you do a Christopher Eccleston or Ringo Starr impression?
That's it, Rose. Run for your life.
There you go.
It's getting there, but yeah, it's getting there. Hello, I'm here. Yes.
Should we go straight into the Doctor Who news? Because
let's do it, mate. Let's do it. There's a lot to talk about.
What do we have first on the list?
So I guess you should probably talk about that. You know, the finale last night.
Oh yeah, let's talk about.
That's pretty important, isn't it? Yeah.
The vanquishers.
That's the one. What you said.
Harrison, what did you think of last night's episode?
Okie doke. So overall, I thought in this era, under
I'm going to give you one podcast tip.
Yeah.
This is your voice. Try and keep it low.
Oh, okay.
If it spikes too much, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sure thing. So on the whole, in this era of Doctor Who for Chips, I thought this was his best finale out of his three he's done.
What was the last one? It was The Timeless Children, wasn't it?
And
the one before that was just the
Tim Shaw, the Battle of Ranskow. Yeah. But I don't know. I enjoyed this one. I honestly thought the highlight of this finale was the Sontarans. I thought they were awesome.
They were funny, weren't they?
And I thought they had a great plan as well.
I watched it because I watched half of it last night. And I was just absolutely shattered that I turned it off.
I mean, you mentioned that, didn't you?
And just watched it all again today because I wanted to make sure I watched it properly. And I was watching it. And I thought, I wonder what Harrison's going to think of the Sontarans, because I know some people might have thought they didn't like the whole corner shop stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought it was quite funny. I enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot because like I've always complained about the Sontarans, particularly in like Moffat's era, like mainly because of Straps, because he's only like comedic. But in here you've got a perfect balance. You got that hilarious stuff in the corner shop, and then you hear obviously how they kill all the Lupara, and you think, oh my god, that's a genocide.
Yeah.
Like shit.
Yeah, because I've always sort of noticed like they always go on about how they're like battle-born and stuff like that, but I never actually see them do shit. But like this series, they've done loads of good stuff.
They've done some awesome stuff, and I thought their plan to use the Flux to take out the Daleks and the Cybermen was awesome.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
Obviously, not all of the Daleks.
Yeah, no, of course. We'll get to that. We'll get to shocker.
But no, I really enjoyed it. Parts of it. It's one of those things where I was getting annoyed with parts of it, so I'm going, I don't understand it. And then I go, I get it now. It was like, but it was like one of those things where, where I was going through it, but I was understanding it as it went on, and it did answer all the questions that the series had built up. I suppose the only thing that maybe people might be slightly disappointed by is the fact they didn't really do much with the past Doctors, the pre-Hartnell stuff.
I get what you mean,
but I like the fact that they put a bow on it and they've just left it there. And if someone wants to revisit it, they can. It hasn't affected the show's history really. I know people going on about like, oh, it doesn't make any sense, but the fact that they've just sort of left it, you still have the 12 Doctors, you still have the 13 Doctors, you've still got John Hare. There isn't anything that the Doctor knows that we don't know. There's nothing we know that the Doctor doesn't. Nothing's contradicting itself really too much.
I honestly believe that's probably the right approach of it, just to have it in the titles to be like, okay, it's here. If like, I mean, who knows? They're going to touch upon it in those like the special episodes. You never know. But
yeah, perhaps.
As for right now, it's there. Like the highest complaint I have with this finale, which I thought wasn't great, and I'll be completely honest, I'm going to go out on this one. I really didn't like how they handled the swarm in this Anazur, how they just got wrapped up like that.
Yeah,
that was a bit annoying. I'll be honest.
I was sort of thinking towards the end. I was sort of thinking because like a few hours later, I was like, what happened to them? I was like, oh, they just sort of got captured by time.
Yeah,
really, didn't they?
Like,
I feel
time
like they
just like erased them.
They could have been like sent back to that prison that they were at the start of the episode, or
I just like, I mean, because I really
sorry, not
like them
the start of the series.
Yeah, like I really like them as characters, and I thought like it was really interesting to hear this kind of villain who's got this huge history with the Doctor, and there's going to be like this main antagonist. But we don't actually like, apart from that flashback with the temple.
Yeah,
we didn't really get like the sense of that. Like, who are these guys? Oh, they're just some punks. That
I'm really happy that it wasn't like
time.
We're the master.
Yeah.
Or where I because I saw people online like, well, who were they? And I'm like,
well, they're just some.
But they were like annoyed that they weren't revealed to be anybody.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's good because I get bored of everybody being the master or the Rani.
Yeah, true. It was a nice change up. I honestly image these guys as a huge upgrade from like Tim Shaw. They actually had a lot more to do, which is good. And they generally felt like a threat, but I wasn't happy with how they got handled in the end. This guy, alright, like time just erases them, and that's
what did you think to Kate Stewart in this episode?
I'll be honest. I
was just sort of there.
Exactly my point. I mean, it was awesome to see her like last like week and whatnot, and I thought her and the Grand Serpent were going to have this huge like fight or this like confrontation, but that was kind of handed to like Vinda a lot more. But I think like Kate was just there, and even when the like Doctor entered the room, she's like, "Oh, hi, Kate." And then for like about half an hour, that's it. And I thought, dude, it's like Kate Stewart, she's back.
I wonder if she's going to be back in future specials with the 13th Doctor, because at the end,
I hope so, yeah.
They say, "Oh, I hope I see you again." And
wink, wink.
And it seems strange to write that in and then not play on that.
I hope so. I think it'd be really cool, because I really like how like Kate has now had the chance to meet like Matt Smith and Capaldi and now Jodie. So I really hope they continue this.
Would it be possible for them to do Big Finish where she meets 10? Because I know 9 is about to meet the Brigadier, isn't he?
He is, or something like that.
In Big Finish. And it's during the Matt Smith era that the Brigadier dies.
It is, yes.
So I guess it would make sense for the 10th Doctor not to meet Kate Stewart. Or if he did, she isn't the head of unit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Or, like, I'll be honest, anything can happen in audio. You know what I mean? Like, all these crazy, like, covers. Yeah, anything can happen, but you're not wrong.
I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was really well done. I like the teases to the future specials with the Master.
Yeah, like, wink, wink.
Yeah, that was fun. The fact that I liked that this was Dan's first adventure. This was his Autons. This was his Jadoon on the moon.
Yeah,
this was his Rachnos. But his thing was, 6 weeks long. This was his first adventure.
Yeah.
And at the end of the series, they said, "Now would you like to join the TARDIS team?" And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I like
It's just a shame that I think we're not going to get many more episodes with him. We're only going to get possibly 3 more specials with him.
That's the thing, or potentially, because we don't know about the plans that RTD has, if he's going to keep them on. I mean, obviously, it happened with Clara, didn't it?
Yeah, I know he said in an interview, he said that if someone phones up and says, "Come back," he'll go, "Yeah," which makes me think that he's written out.
Potentially, yeah.
But then the door's open for him to come back.
It's interesting.
I really enjoy the character of Dan. I think he's great.
I honestly believe he's one of the highlights. I just kind of wish he had a lot more time with the Doctor in itself. We've all been like all split up. I've always, I mean, I'll be honest, I've really kind of like seen him as more of a companion to Yaz rather than the Doctor. I'll be completly honest. But...
Should we talk about Yaz?
Yeah, let's talk
because
about
there is a pivotal scene towards the end of the episode where I watched it today, and there is a moment where the Doctor tells Yaz that she should have been more honest with him, and there is a moment where the two of them just look at each other, and there is undeniably a chemistry there. Do you think they're going to play on that in next episode?
Potentially, because I love the tear that Jodie had.
Yeah.
I thought that was really nice, and I really believe like this kind of helps with like her character arc as the Doctor, how she hasn't opened up, and now it's finally going to change, which is going to be like potentially heartbreaking because she's only got like 3 episodes.
This is what
left.
I was going to say. I think they're going to play on that over the next few episodes, and then in their final episode, they're going to maybe not confess their feelings to it. I don't want to say love because I don't know where they're going.
Yeah, here comes the fanfic, and
but you know, what I mean, I feel there's gonna be some confession between the two of them
about something,
but it's gonna be too late. It's either gonna be Yaz's death or the 13th Doctor's death. I can't see Yaz actively leaving the TARDIS. I think she's going to have to be forced out of there.
I completely agree.
Dan, however, I think would leave on his own accord.
I completely agree with you, mate, because you know in Revolution of the Daleks, when like Jack was talking to Jazz, and it's like, you know, it's the Doctor who always in the end leaves you, rather than the other way around. It's almost like he was trying to like plant something there, trying to plant seed, which I think works well for like her character arc as the Doctor. How she is more inclusive, and she doesn't know.
I'll tell you what I have enjoyed. You just ran over there by mentioning Jack. What I have liked about this series in particular is how it does feel like an extension to the RTD era. It doesn't feel like they're copying it, but with the stuff with the fob watch and the little callbacks to past episodes, and you know, starting with Jack and a mention of Rose. And then the Doctor's got a few throwaway lines in there, like in this episode in particular, she mentions little shops, how she likes a little shop.
I got that.
In the first episode, when she meets Dan, she says, "Nice to meet you, Dan. Run for your life."
Yeah.
You know, there's little callbacks, and you know the thing with the Oods are in there as well.
Yeah, the Oods, Angels as well, and Centaur as well, and Animal Classic.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I feel like it was being really nicely done, and when it got to the end of it, it's the first time since in a long time I've watched Doctor Who that it got to the end of the series and I went, I really enjoyed all of that. That was really well done, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
I am quite interested to see what happens. I honestly think Flux is the highlight of this era. I honestly be, and it's interesting how, you know, like from even 6 episodes, I prefer this over like 10 episodes.
Yeah, I think they should stick with. I've always thought 13's too long. 10 max.
Yeah.
6 is ideal though, because it's a nice condensed story.
It is, to be fair, the only kind of like huge flaw I have with like Flux, and I think it really highlights in the finale, there was just like, I mean, obviously there was quite a lot of like characters, and at the end of the day, it's going to happen with any kind of group. You're going to get some people who are left out. I mean, we even talked about him, but Jericho obviously dying as well.
Yeah, that was, I liked his character, yeah.
It was cool how everyone had a part to play in the finale and helping out, but in my head I was just like, okay, this is a bit overcrowded here. There was a lot happening.
The only character I really thought about then was Diane, because she went on this weird, crazy journey, and then at the end, what I couldn't understand was that like Dan was still having to convince her that he wasn't late, and I'm sort of going, you were just on another world. You've just been on a spaceship.
You've seen aliens.
Yeah. Why don't you believe him?
I find it so funny how at the end, she's like, "Oh, you were late," and she wasn't up for that drink. And he was like, "Right, then I'm off in the top." Travel with the top.
Travel with these two women instead. Don't need you, Diane.
Oh, hello there. You caught me in my local public library. I was just catching up on some of the mail and feedback we've been getting from some of our listeners. Let me read this one to you. Love this podcast, and you both would honestly love to do something like this and get to discuss the show. New subscriber. And that comes from the fall of the 11th. We always love getting your mail, so keep sending it across in the comments, Twitter, and on Instagram, or even on our email.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Should we talk about the New Year's special?
Yeah, let's talk about the New Year special, and even just like before we talk about it, how it was even advertised like an hour after airing the finale. It's like,
they showed the trailer. It's like the Next Time trailer, wasn't it?
It is, isn't it?
But it was a much shorter trailer. The TV version was different to the one that was released online.
I prefer the online one.
Yeah, the online one reveals more about the plot, I feel, which let's get into in a second. But it's called the Eve of the Daleks.
Eve of the Daleks.
Eve of the Daleks. They're not continuing the Revolution thing. It's not another R.
Yeah, this is something different.
Let's just speculate, because we don't really know much. Do you think we're going to see Davros?
I'll be honest, I mean, from the trailers, it doesn't look like it. From the trailers, it looks very contained. You got this warehouse, you got this time loop, very kind of like Edge of Tomorrow vibes, I'd say. I don't think we'll see Davros, but as I've always
do you think we will
about,
see Davros before Jodie regenerates?
I'll be honest, like, not really.
I thought if we were, it was going to be in this special.
No, same.
But after watching the trailer, I can't see him really fitting in there.
But you never know. But I mean, like, I guess the highlight of this era, and I've always talked about it on this podcast, is how we don't know anything. Everything is under wraps. I mean, how, like, as we got introduced to Joe Martin, we didn't have a clue. She was giving the doctor.
Yeah.
It's the doctor, so you never know. But but heading off the trailers alone, I don't think so. I honestly think having the idea of this time loop is going to be really awesome for the Daleks. Just
like a Groundhog Day thing,
exactly.
Isn't it?
So just they're able to keep killing off folks without consequences.
Because in the trailer, you see the three of them get exterminated,
literally, and you think, like
I think it's gonna be really good fun. My only hesitation with it would be that as long as it's not like Hellbent. You know, like going round and round and round.
No.
There's got to be difference in the time loops.
Don't you mean Heaven Sent?
Heaven Sent.
I was going to say.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't. I don't just want to see them doing the same thing for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And getting a little bit further each time.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I hope they change it up. I mean, I like the new guns, the Daleks.
Yeah, like a little revolver on it.
It's like a
minigun.
Yeah, it's like a minigun. It looks cool. I mean, I honestly think the whole time loop thing is going to tie into what's happening with the TARDIS in Flux. That's not explained still. We still don't know what's happening with the TARDIS.
That's true. Yeah,
you've got all that like black or whatnot slime.
Yeah.
So I hope they actually explain that.
Yeah.
And that perhaps ties into kill. On the poster, the TARDIS is.
Poster looks great, doesn't it?
It does.
Some of the best promotional. I know because we've spoken privately about some of the promotional art, and the design of it is very good, but it's just too saturated. There's too much. I feel they just need to tone it down a little bit. Some of it's been great, and the poses of the characters are great, but it's all the bright colours, and sometimes it looks just a little too much.
Yeah,
but this looks really good.
It definitely looks good. I mean, it's an upgrade from any of the Spider-Man any of the Spider-Man things, the posters they've done previously.
That's true. Anything else you want to speculate about the
Eve of the Daleks? I think is going to be interesting. It's interesting because it almost looks exactly the same as like Resolution, the way how you've got these two new characters, which is what happened in like Resolution with those two new characters. So I don't know, but it'd be interesting to have a contained thing. And I really, as we talked about, I really like how Chips has handled the Daleks. How he hasn't just forced them in for the sake of forcing them in, and now they've got their own trilogy, isn't it?
Yeah. No, sorry, I was listening, but I was just going to say it's only 3 weeks till that episode comes out as well, which isn't too bad.
That's nuts.
But no, I agree with you. Like, obviously we've been going back and watching the episodes, and it's like every series is either the RTD era, anyway, is either Daleks finale or Daleks mid-series. Dalek finale, that's the pattern it goes.
Very good point.
And the mid-series ones are, apart from Dalek in series 1, are usually a bit of an alright episode. There's not too much to talk about with them. But and by doing that, you sort of get null to them. You don't see them as much.
That's
as
a really good point.
But by having them in one episode a year, right at the end of the year,
it gets the hype.
Yeah, it does, and I prefer it like that. And if there's one thing that I really like from Chibnall era that I would like to carry on, it's that.
Yeah, no,
I'm not
absolutely.
saying that every new year has to be a Dalek, because it would get boring at the end. One new year it's going to be a Dalek.
Yeah.
But like the fact that they just appeared in Flux, the last episode of Flux, and like episode 3 as well.
In that awful CGI.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? They just appear briefly, and it just keeps them in the zeitgeist, and it keeps you entertained.
Yeah, you're not wrong, because I can image when we had series 11, which didn't have any classic villains, and there was all these like hints that in the New Year's episode there's going to be like Daleks. Everyone's getting so hyped for Resolution.
And then they played the trailer, and it didn't show the Dalek, but you heard it.
Yeah, it was heavily implied, and everyone got so hyped.
Yeah. So that was
what
great.
I loved. Yeah, I completely agree with you. You need to hype up the Daleks a bit more.
Yeah. Anything else, or is that it?
I don't think I've got anything else in
Cool.
these.
Let's move on. What do we have next on the list?
What have we got next? So we are going to do a live subscriber.
Oh, here we go. Yes. Well, last week, fellas and fellettes, you may remember that every week me and Harry have been. We give you a target of subscribers to reach.
Gotta hit that.
And last week I was hesitant to give one out because I just wanted to see how close to 900 subscribers we could get. I think we were on about 830 something. But this week, as I speak to you now, we are on 935 subscribers. So absolutely smashed it.
You're killing it, folks.
So obviously the next goal is at 1,000 subscribers.
Oh.
I'm not going to set a goal for how soon that's going to reach. Ideally, looking at how well we've done this week, I'd love it to happen within the week.
Oh, yeah.
We have got a really cool thing that we're doing for 1,000 subscribers, but you've got to be following us on the Instagram. We will be posting it on the community tab on Facebook and on our Twitter.
It's a hell of a treat, folks.
But to be able to take part in it, you have to be on the Instagram. And I know not everybody has Instagram, but you're gonna want to take part in it.
Hey, go on the inside.
So yeah, as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll announce what that is. But I don't want to say it.
I
don't want to say it.
I'm not saying anything, but all I will tell you guys that it is cool. It is really cool. It's out there. It's out there, to say the least.
I'm trying to think of any other stuff that I should mention. Oh, by the time you're listening to this, we're recording this on the Monday. It's going out on the Wednesday. On the Tuesday, so yesterday, already out now, is the interview with Passenger himself. I'm literally in a few hours about to talk to Johnny. And then that's going out on the Tuesday. We're going to be talking about everything Doctor Who Flux. Behind the scenes stories, some plot points, stuff like that. Maybe a few things that changed because of COVID. Who knows? I haven't recorded it yet, so I have to wait and see. But that's that. Let's carry on with some actual Doctor Who news.
Let's carry
What's been going on this week?
So what's been going on this week? So I came across an article which talks about how Chris Chibnall actually made the character of the Grand Serpent for Craig
Parkinson. We did talk about him then. I did realise, but he was so good this series.
No, he was, wasn't he?
Straight off the back of Line of Duty and into this. There's a scene where he's with the Sontarans in episode 6.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I was an actor, I'd think I'd struggle because I'd be like, this could look so stupid.
Yeah.
Like you stood there with a potato and you're wearing a jacket with a snake on it.
Yeah, and a cane.
Yeah, this could look really daft.
Yeah.
But his performance and, everybody who plays the Sontarans' performance as well is so good. What did you think to the Grand Serpent?
I mean, it's actually quite interesting. I've got a very kind of like funny thing, with all this. So, throughout Flux, obviously he managed to enter Flux in the 3rd episode. And I'll be honest, I didn't even care. I was like, it's that actor. Like, cool.
Yeah.
I still, because at the time I didn't really care about Vinder's arc, and I'll be honest, I haven't really. So as he came on screen, I thought, okay, cool. And then he returned in last week's episode, and I thought, okay, cool. And then he started infiltrating the unit.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my god, this is sick.
That'd be a good big finish series.
That'd be sick. How? I mean, it don't even have to be audio. It doesn't even have to be audio. It could be like a live action thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was just really cool. Like, I thought, he's a great actor, but he's in a honestly believe he was in that one scene in the flashback.
I thought that was going to be it. Yeah.
I thought we were going to see him again, and then he begins infiltrating unit. And I thought, oh my god, this is awesome. And how he kills folks with that snake thing, which irks me.
The effect on the face is amazing, where the face all sort of starts bubbling up in it.
It's
was
really cool, but I really enjoyed this character because at the start I didn't care about him whatsoever. Yeah. I didn't even pay attention.
I thought it was just a one-off.
Yeah, I thought, it's that actor from TV, cool.
Yeah.
And then as he started infiltrating unit, and then obviously his whole plan to team up with the Sontarans and to lower a thing and whatnot, I thought was great.
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome. I honestly thought he was one of the highlights of Flux. It's just because I didn't hope to click with him at all at the start, and then he ended up as a highlight. I mean, it's interesting how he wrote the role in particular for Craig Parkinson.
I've got a quote here from Chris.
Oh yeah, what you got?
It says, "We wanted him from the show. We wanted him in the show for a long time.
Yeah.
For a warm, funny, delightful man, Craig can do cold, quiet, and threatening in a way that chills the blood." He said. I didn't mention to Craig the disgusting way the Grand Serpent dispatches his enemies. I left that as a surprise for when he read the script. So who is the Grand Serpent? Parkinson. Then basically they go, yeah.
Yeah, but I honestly, how he talks about how he wrote this role for him. I can tell that in his performance. It really shows. I mean, it's interesting because, I only really, clicked with him in the 5th episode, which I think a majority did, and then I thought, it's the last one next week. I was hoping for more of him.
Yeah, I was,
We can only hope he returns, because he's on that asteroid, isn't he?
Just floating around.
He's just, in my head, I was like, damn, that's cold, but...
Yeah, no, I'd like to see him again, I really would.
I'd
like to see Swarm and Azura.
Yeah,
I'd
struggle.
like to see them return as well.
I don't know. I mean,
I really like the design of them.
Oh, no,
I thought
same.
they're really good.
I think they've got a really cool design, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd like hope to see them back, just because, like as we said earlier, I don't like. I just feel like how they got handled in the finale was really poor.
But they could build off that. Like, where did they go?
I like potentially, yeah. I mean,
I'd love to see Carvanista again.
Oh no, same. I think everyone would. I mean, he was a highlight of Flux. I mean, I guess that's a real highlight of Flux, like how we connected with these characters a lot more than if we had like 10 episodes or the usual like filler episode format.
Yeah.
No, he was great. And obviously, I really loved the moment, when the Centaur was like, "Oh yeah, I've just managed to kill your whole race."
Yeah,
It just breaks down. The only thing I didn't like was the how he gave afterwards. I thought that was a bit naff.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
In my head, I was like,
it really sort of killed the vibe of it. Yeah.
I'll be honest, but no, he's a great character.
What I would have done personally is I would have cut to an exterior shot of the ship, and you would have heard it.
Yeah, that.
But I would have shown a 6-foot man howling in a dog costume.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit.
Should we go on to the rest of the news, Harrison? Because this is news that I imagine you're quite excited
yeah,
about.
I've already been having an eye on this outside of Doctor Who in itself. But we are going to talk about the UK's plan to open up the London Resort, which, if you haven't got a clue what that is, it's basically the UK's version of Disneyland.
Yeah.
It is in development. Parliament have given authorisation for it. Planning is on going in Kent. It's in the Kent area, I believe it's going to be.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk a long time ago that both Paramount...
Was it originally going to be like Universal?
So it was actually going to be Paramount and the BBC were in talks about having some rides or some kind of branding in this thing.
I remember there was going to be Star Trek at one point, wasn't there?
Yeah, had all sorts in there. But obviously, after hearing that news, everyone was like, "Oh my god, there's going to be a Doctor Who roller coaster, like a ride or something."
Yeah.
Which as a person who loves Doctor Who and roller coasters, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
so
it'd be
it's like
interesting.
the London Resort, and it's going to. Paramount aren't attached to it anymore.
No, they're not attached to it anymore.
BBC are attached.
Are potentially attached. It isn't flat out confirmed.
And there's another company attached as well. I can't remember.
Yeah, I forget the name, but it's definitely a UK brand or whatnot. But this is interesting.
I know we spoke about it a little bit in the past.
You haven't,
because there was talk. Because if you look on the Wikipedia, which hasn't been updated in a while, because it says the BBC themed rides are hoped to be Doctor Who, fair enough. Top Gear, fair enough. And Sherlock.
Yeah.
Which hasn't been on in about 6 years, I don't
It's
think.
interesting they've chosen one of their most popular brands.
So I think if they were to open it, I can't honestly imagine there being a Sherlock themed ride.
I was hoping for more of a line of duty roller coaster or something, which was that's gonna get the kids in. But yeah, it'd be interesting.
Doctor Who roller coaster, maybe not a roller coaster, but
just
a
ride.
VR. What you know, because Harrison is a theme park.
I am
nerd.
a slight theme partner.
What's it called? Like the Simpsons ride.
Simulation rides, or even a kind of dark rides where you are on rails and you get a gun and you hit targets. I can see that
like
with
the Buzz Lightyear ride.
It'd be interesting if they were to do.
I think a simulation one would be cool.
I
like the idea that you could be like a stranded spaceship that then gets towed to safety by the TARDIS.
The potential here is endless. They could do anything. If they were to do something, though, I hope that obviously, the whole point of Doctor Who is that it changes. So if they were to do something, I hope they would include the whole brand as a whole, rather than just concentrate on this era.
Yeah. Like Star Tours, you go on and there's 50 different.
Exactly my point.
You can go on. You can have Tennant. You can have Smith. You can have.
Imagine.
You can have lots of different Doctors. Some of them through voice cameos or.
Make this
happen.
You know
what I mean? I think it would be really good. You could be towed by the TARDIS. You could be in battle with the Daleks.
That'd be sick.
You know what I mean?
This would be really cool, but I'm not obviously surprised at all that eyeing this up as an attraction, and even the same with the Top Gear as well. But I think that's the appeal of Doctor Who. It is it is a family show, and theme parks obviously appeal to everyone, but families in particular. But I think the potential here is endless. But it'd be really cool if they had the ride or whatever it is or anything as Doctor Who as a whole, rather than just say, this is in the Smith era only or the Jodie era. So but hopefully
that was the problem that the Experience had, wasn't it? Really, I had to update itself really because I went to the Experience when it was Matt Smith, but at the time we knew that Peter Capaldi had been cast And I know when Capaldi then became the Doctor, they had to rebrand everything quite quickly and refilm a lot of stuff.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because like it's even happened with like current Who now with like the Edge of Reality or whatnot, or those like games that are like in the Jodie era.
Yeah.
I can tell the disappointment on your face.
Well, I haven't played it, but I've seen screenshots and David Tennant's Doctor just looks looks awful.
It's Doctor Who, so it has to be good. Yeah. But no, fair. But obviously, hopefully this happens.
And when it opens, we'll go to opening day and we'll do it.
Oh yeah,
we'll do it.
Have an opening vlog. We'll go on the rides. Yeah, but how are you
that.
going to go on the ride? You don't like rides.
I've got a simulation.
Hey, you got a simulation.
I do like rides. I'd go on a Doctor Who ride.
If it was a tall roller coaster, would you do it?
If it were maybe not on opening day. We'll put a GoPro on you and we'll...
For the channel, you'd have to do it, right?
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh, sure. I want to hear this in the comments. We're going to get him on a Doctor Who roller coaster. Do you want to go on to the next comment?
Yeah, what do we have next?
Yeah, what we got next?
What up, computer geeks? It's Tim here, and I'm currently sat in the tech hub of Bigger on the Inside. The guys and gals who work down here want me to tell you how you can contact the show anytime. You can do it by Instagram and Twitter. Just follow us by searching for @BiggerOnThePod. If that's not good enough for you, how about sending us an email? BiggerOnTheInsidePod@gmail.com.
So, we're talking about, could Doctor Who return on a Saturday night? And why are we asking this? Because the BBC is currently airing Superman and Lois at about, what's it, like half five?
Yeah.
All the time?
It is, isn't it? Because I went home the other day, it's like my family home, I just put the telly on and it was on, and I caught the last half hour. I've never seen a single episode, but I was really enjoying it.
Oh, I've heard it's brilliant.
It does show the budget restraints of Doctor Who. But we'll get onto that a little bit later.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I feel it's on too early. Yeah. I feel like it should be on at about 7 o'clock, but I feel at the moment on the BBC, the thing that is messing the schedule up a lot is Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
And because that is a family show, and a lot of families watch that, and kids like it and stuff like that. Whereas something like Superman and Lois, it's quite a dive. You know what I mean? It's not going to have as much appeal as Strictly Come Dancing because it's Superman, and if you don't like Superman, you're probably not really going to enjoy the show.
Everyone's heard of Superman, well, I hope so anyway.
I feel like if Strictly Come Dancing wasn't on that programme, it would be on a little later, because they were talking about sex and drugs in the first episode, and it was like 5:30 in the afternoon. But yeah, I think Doctor Who should return to a Saturday night slot. I would be surprised if that isn't something Russell does.
It's interesting, yeah, because I honestly believe it will really reflect if the BBC have faith in this new era that he's got planned. And obviously, every time everyone hears the name RTD, they think, Saturday night primetime TV or whatnot.
I do like the Sunday though. I do like it. I do like it on a Sunday because it's a nice cap to the end of the week. I like the fact that if I've had a bad week, I can look forward to watching that. And it's quite nice. There's nothing else on telly competing for viewing figures, really.
Yeah, that is a good point, to be fair. I mean, it is interesting, to kind of analyse, I know it was on, I think the last time it was on, the Saturdays was in Peter's era, right?
Moffat's last series,
yeah, so... It'd be interesting, but I honestly believe it does belong on a Saturday. I don't mind it on a Sunday.
Saturday night, 7:30 to 8:15.
But I honestly believe it's that's the prime time slot. Yeah. But I honestly believe that as a broadcaster, they have to have the faith in it. They have to believe in it. And I believe if they've got, RTD back, honestly, but I can image it happening, to be fair. I can image, everyone's heard the news that he's coming back and everyone's going to think, oh my God, this is going to be huge. And if they air it on that night, and that first episode he does is huge, I can see.
Well, I think what you'll find as well with the RTD era is the promo of behind the scenes stuff. Because I read an interview where he was saying that one thing he's quite proud of with Doctor Who is that he made the role of the writer visible. When you look at classically, people...
Confidential.
Yeah, you look at stuff like the John Nathan Turner era or whatever. Unless you were a fan of the show and bought the books, you didn't really know who wrote Doctor Who.
That's a really good point.
But in the 2000, the RTD era, he would be on This Morning talking about Doctor Who instead of David Tennant.
It's a nice change.
And I feel that's a good place to start. It's the fact that put Russell on these talk shows, have him promoting the show again, and then once it's found its feet again, you can then start getting the new Doctor on the shows. And...
I very much agree with you, mate. I honestly think that's a really good point. Not, hardly anyone actually talks about.
Yeah.
How to have, obviously, him as a brand, as a writer, is very highly acclaimed.
He's probably in terms of television, he's the most in-demand TV writer.
And absolutely, and I can tell why.
Yeah, and I would say that people are as big a fans of Russell as they are of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'd actually say
when a new Russell show comes on, no matter what it's about, I will probably watch it.
Yeah.
I think the only ones I haven't watched recently are Very English Scandal, because I was just unaware of it at the time.
No,
but I saw years and years. I've seen It's a Sin, and I've seen bits of Queer as Folk and stuff like that. And I've seen bits of his Tofu and his Channel 4 stuff as well.
I honestly believe it'd be great to have it on Saturday over again. Cause I've heard everyone complain and said, oh yeah, how they don't have faith in it anymore. They put it on Sunday night, and I'm thinking, well, no.
Get loads of shows on a Sunday night.
Exactly, that's my point. It's like, well, no, just because they've changed the airtime, it doesn't mean they don't have faith in it. But yeah, I would.
If they put it on a Thursday, we'll be having a conversation.
True. I mean, that's the thing. I honestly believe it would work well though if we had it on the Saturdays again. But if we had it in this kind of new Flux storytelling where every episode is important. Cause I can just I can image as a kid. I'm there on a Saturday night, and I've got Peter Kay in a suit on at 7:30 at night. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
When in the year do you like Doctor Who airing? Because originally with Russell it was summer, but more recently it has been end of year sort of stuff.
It has been end of year stuff. That's an interesting question. Actually, believe it or not, I prefer it in the springtime. To be perfectly honest, like that March, April time, whatnot.
It's not competing with Strictly then as well.
No, it's not. I don't know what it is. I feel like I just like that time more.
That said, I have enjoyed on a Sunday night getting cosy in the winter nights of just watching Doctor Who. That's been really quite nice.
It's a nice appeal, isn't it? And obviously, as in our area, obviously it's a bit colder, isn't it? Just like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to go on to the next topic,
let's move on.
I mean, I guess in a way, it kind of it ties in. But RTD apparently, as of this morning, is working on Doctor Who.
This could be
pre-production,
nothing, or it could be everything.
You never know.
Someone asked him.
Was it on Instagram?
Because he's got a show coming out that he's wrote, and I think it's currently filming.
Yeah.
And someone said, when are you starting work on Doctor Who? Or is this not clashing with Doctor Who? Yeah. He said, no, I start that next Monday, which is today, as we speak.
This is history in the making.
So who knows, maybe today Russell actually started writing some Doctor Who stuff. I imagine he's been thinking about it before.
Oh, of course.
Otherwise, he's not just going to say yes.
Of course he is.
But it's very exciting.
No, I mean, of course it is. I mean, how could it not be? I think this is huge. Obviously, this is very, very, very early days.
Yes. His 60th is 2 years away.
It's 2 years.
Just under 2 years away.
That's nuts to think about.
But by the time Jodie's last episode comes out, it'll only be a year away.
Only be a year away, won't it? Yeah. I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously, as you said earlier, I honestly believe he's already been thinking about it for a long time. I mean, obviously, he's already returning.
Yeah.
And I presume even as he got offered it, he was like, right, I need to think about this. I mean, I'll be really blown away if he got asked. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it on the spot." I presume he had to go away and have a night to think. Right,
what could I do with it?
How could I do this? So, yeah, it'd be interesting. But if it is happening, obviously, I presume he's trying to I mean, I presume at this point that they would have already cast the new Doctor.
Well, should we go on to this next as well?
Yeah, do you want to go?
It's
the next topic.
Yeah,
funny
because. Fan favourite and Harry's favourite to play the Fox.
Here we go.
Has been Ollie Alexander.
Who's
Ollie
that?
Alexandra.
Who's that? No, I haven't heard of him. He hasn't been in the news 10 times.
But recently, he for a while he was sort of saying, "Oh, if I knew, I'd have to kill you," and all this, all that sort of stuff. They all
cryptic stuff.
But recently, they asked him if he would like to do it, and he just said he would rather his It's a Sin co-star, Mary Douglas.
Mary Douglas,
I believe. Omari.
I would go with
Amari.
If it's incorrect in the comments, you can tell us.
To take the character, Alexander stated that Alexander starred as Richie Tozer
in Russell T Davies' hit miniseries, which explored the AIDS crisis in London in the 1980s, whilst Douglas played his friend Roscoe. I'm just trying to find a quote here.
Yeah.
Ollie told the PA news agency, I'm definitely not going to be the Doctor, but it's going to be so amazing, Russell's Doctor. I mean, it was before, and it will be again, and it has been great. So I'm excited to watch the show because I'm a fan. He confirmed that he is definitely backing Mary Douglas for the role, adding, I think the Doctor's quite queer anyway. That's my take on the character, and I think it would really make sense for a queer actor to take on the role. I think it would bring something really great to the part, and his performance, I'd love to see that. Yeah, great. I could totally see him as the Doctor.
Yeah, I could as well. And it's a nice, like, I presume anyone who's hearing this, like my podcast is aware that obviously, like in this like day and age as well, we've got more like, diversity and whatnot in Doctor, and I'm all like for that 100%. But I also believe as well, don't just cast anyone,
for the sake,
just how they look. They have to be.
You haven't seen Exorcism, have you?
I haven't, so you're gonna have to help me out
here. He's a really good actor. And it's the only thing I've seen him in.
Yeah,
but he was really good in it. So it's hard for me to judge what his Doctor would be like.
Yeah, of course.
Off the back of it, but I've looked at some promo art of him and I've seen his headshots and stuff like that, and I can see it. I can really see it. I mean, it was the thumbnail of this video.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I can see it.
I can absolutely image it as well. Because I honestly believe, like, particularly like New Who, obviously, because I've only grown up on that. Like every time there has been a casting of the Doctor, I've heard like who the new Doctor is, and I hear like David Tennant's 10th Doctor. I'm like, who's that as a kid? And obviously he's incredible. The only actor I've known prior to playing the Doctor is Jodie, actually, which is interesting.
Yes, Jodie's the only actor whose work I've seen.
Yeah,
I was familiar with who Peter Capaldi was. Because I remember when that 12th Doctor stuff was coming out, he was like the front runner for the last couple of weeks. So I remember I've seen him in The Musketeers.
Oh, okay, right. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so I sort of was aware of him through that. But yeah, the only one I was totally aware of was Jodie.
Yeah, so that kind of really is able to play into my point where it's
that's
like,
only because we've got older, I feel.
Yeah, no, true, obviously, but I honestly believe that I definitely enjoy it a lot more when I don't know who the actor is. If they turn out to be incredible as the Doctor, it's like, oh my god, this is even cooler.
Yeah.
So I'm all about this. Like, I'm all about unknown talent in Doctor Who.
What's interesting about that, I think, is that the fact that Ollie said he is definitely not going to be the Doctor.
There you go.
Do you think there's been a conversation with him and Russell where they've maybe spoken about it and it hasn't worked out?
Well, I mean,
because Russell had said before that Ollie would have made a great Doctor. He said that he would be Doctor Who. He said that he should be Doctor Who. And now Ollie is saying that he definitely isn't going to be Doctor Who. So there must have been a conversation there between Russell and Ollie that makes me think that there's been a conversation. Would you like to play the Doctor? And they've gone over what that role would be and how it would be portrayed, and maybe they haven't agreed totally on what that's going to be.
You never know. I mean, I'd answer it almost like this. That's like a person going up to Andrew Garfield and saying, "Are you in No Way Home?" And he's going, "No, I'm not. I'm not in the film."
Yeah.
When actually this whole time,
he who knows? Doctor, couldn't he? Yeah,
he might be. So it's exactly the same thing here. We said, "Oh no, I'm not," but then who knows? He might actually the whole time. Yeah, that's. I mean, I really hope that this whole thing in this Chibnall era about everything under wraps and the secrecy is definitely held on throughout Doctor's history now. So who knows if Ollie Alexander is already cast and he just said, "Oh no, I'm not. I've got to tell the press that."
Yeah,
but you never know. I mean, I'll be open to anyone. But as we've always talked about in the past, it's always cooler to have an actor who isn't like huge or whatnot, and like Doctor Who's their like big.
I suppose the only example from that really was John Hurt.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but he was more of an occasion, wasn't he, for the anniversary, you could say. But, yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I'm up for anyone, but no, I'll take your, word for it.
Yeah.
That he is a good actor.
Whilst talking about Russell, should we go on to the fact that Sony have now bought a big stake of Bad Wolf.
That's huge news.
Me and Harry spoke about it before.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was just like they were looking into it. But now Sony Television have bought a large stake, and they've also bought other people's stakes of Bad Wolf Production Company, which is going to be the production company that have creative control over Doctor Who. And I also believe they have trademarked the name
Universal 1.
Oh, right, okay.
You talk a little bit about what you think about Sony being involved.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to look into
Yeah,
this.
you have a browse about this one. I think this is quite interesting, and I really believe it highlights the kind of now, like, as we said earlier about, like, how RTD's, like, reputation is now up there. Even if now you've got this huge organisation like Sony who are now going, yeah, I want a piece of that pie, because it's a nice pie. Yeah, I think this is huge, and honestly, I think the implications of this could be quite interesting. That now you've got Bad Wolf in a way are now kind of like partly owned by this huge corporation. It does get you thinking in your head to think, oh wow, it's just going to up the value of Doctor Who. It's just going to up the CGI.
Yeah.
The overall thing.
Yeah, because the trademarked name Universal 1 Limited.
Interesting name.
Has been, is now registered as a company.
Universal 1.
And has 3 officers running it. Julie Gardner, Natasha Hale, and Pauline Jane Transer.
I see. Yes, all huge
Pauline
names.
and Julie obviously involved in the RTD era.
Yeah.
A lot of people are suggesting, is this going to be its own Doctor Who production company that are now going to be responsible for that brand and possibly going on to spin-offs and stuff like that. What do you think? I think that's really exciting.
Oh yeah, I think this is huge. I mean, it's quite obvious that RTD in like articles or whatnot and interviews have said, yeah, like I want Doctor Who to be almost like Marvel.
Yeah,
it needs to be like that. And I'm not surprised here that this could happen. And it's interesting because obviously in his early days he called Doctor Who Torchwood, which ended up in its own thing. Now you've got this Universal one thing. I mean, even the name Universal is interesting. Universal, universes.
Yeah, exactly. It lends itself already quite well to it.
You never know. Or perhaps you just came up on a farm like, oh yeah, there you go, right, that's the name somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is huge. I just think it's very telling that obviously
they've got big things planned.
It's very telling that you've got Sony eyeing this up and going, yeah, I'm on board on this. I think that's really telling. I think the implication it could be huge in terms of spin-offs. But there could be all sorts. I mean, I presume they're going to be tied to his new era,
I would like it to be a mix of both.
Do you reckon?
I would like, new stories told in the new era and maybe some stuff that's been left open-ended.
Yeah, there has been a lot
of
open-ended stuff.
Vinda Bell and Carvanista.
Yeah,
they go off and do their own thing. And I was looking at a shot of the 3 of them, the last shot you see of them, and I sort of thought, I would like to see what these guys do next.
Potentially, yeah.
Because I know we didn't really get much story about them, and there was a scene in this where Vinda does something really, I can't remember what it is, but in the last episode he does a really cool line, fires his blaster really cool. I was like, I want to see more of that.
I would hope so, because I only see, as we talked about with Flux, obviously it's a tighter story, but you've got more characters that aren't always going to get those payoffs or whatnot, and it's not just happened in Flux, it's happened throughout all of the history of Doctor Who.
Finally we're going to get a Jenny spin-off.
Is it finally going to happen? Jesus, because that's a bit overdue, isn't it? Or you're going to get another K9 one. That's not that awful one from this. No, we're not talking about that. But I think the implications here are huge, and it'd be interesting how that would work if he would. I don't know if he would just turn to his old form and go, right, I'm gonna have have the kids show, have the grown-up show.
I would think so.
Do you reckon he'll do that?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it clearly paid off hugely well in that era. Because I know what, Sarah Jane Adventures was the highest. It was I don't know if it was the highest thing on the BBC, but it was up there. Yeah, it was one of their top things.
And they both went on past the RTD era. They carried on.
Yeah, only very slightly, but it happened, didn't it? It did get some overlap. Yeah. But I think it'd be interesting. I mean, obviously, there was class, but we don't talk about class. We don't talk about class. But yeah, I think this is huge, and I'm just I'm curious to know what he's got planned, or if it's not even him who's coming up with these ideas, if it's actual if it's the BBC in a way, that are also handing him ideas, or they've got kind of an agreement to say, right, you have Doctor Who, but we have control of this.
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll see. But
last piece of news: Jodie Whittaker on leaving Doctor Who. This is on The Guardian. Jodie Whittaker on saying goodbye to Doctor Who. I thought what if I've ruined this for actresses?
I thought that was that was hard to read. That
I haven't read the full thing.
I haven't either, but I've like read that, you know, like the headline bit.
Yeah, in summer you said that you thought you'd be filled with grief at the end of your run. It's been a few weeks since you filmed your last scene as Doctor. How are you feeling? And then this is Jodie.
Yeah.
I've literally just got off the phone with Mandip Gill. It's been 4 years of my life. My grief of saying goodbye to the job is one thing, but it won't feel like the end until it's the end. It's the everydayness of these people and this atmosphere and this group. I find myself monologuing at various people on WhatsApp, checking that they miss me. Mandip had to take the blue tick off because I'm exhausted. Mandip had to take the blue tick off because I'm exhausting. What does blue tick mean? Is that something to do with WhatsApp?
Yeah, because if you go on WhatsApp, you text someone, you get 2 blue ticks.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Yeah, so I presume it's that. I can't think there'd been anything else.
Yeah, it must be hard. I wish that we were getting another series with Jodie. But I feel like these specials are going to,
help elevate it.
Yeah,
it's interesting because I don't know. I think this is very interesting at heart. I think everything she talks about there, how she's obviously saying like, I don't want to ruin it for other actors. Like, yeah, wow, that's impactful, and that hurts. Obviously, it reflects the whole thing of like her as the only and the first, female Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, to have that, to anyone hearing this, like, even if you're not into this era or not, if you're not into like Jodie or not as the character, I mean, it's a tough like thing for her to carry that torch. Be like, right, I am the first one in history, because you never know in history if we're going to do, in the future where we've got like all sorts about to spend the Doctor. But it's hard for her to be that very first one and to have that weight on her shoulders to think, oh, like, if this era is flopped, is that on me? That's very, like, wow, it's horrible to think about.
Yeah.
It really is, and I really do feel for her as an actress in this industry.
Yeah. Matt Smith that said, when you become the Doctor, the shift in your life is extraordinary because it crosses generations. How have you found that? I've been friends with David Tennant since Broadchurch, which is the way, which is way after Doctor Who. At no point when we were out did people come up to him and go, "You're that guy in Broadchurch." They all went, "You're the Doctor." And that was years after he left, so I'm very aware of the culture of it. This is the interviewer.
Yeah.
Some viewers are very young. I don't think you've done any roles before this, that, where, ... And then Jodie's cut and said, "Age appropriate?" ? Get Santa is the only thing I've done that is family friendly in that way. I adore that side of it because I'm a massive fangirl. I'm really into Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and at Comic-Con the entire cast were there. I was beside myself. I went and I wanted to quote all their lines at them. I find the escapism of music, film and television has been my outlet of my noise, which is quite hypocritical, or which is quite hyperactive all the time. It's been my outlet all my life, so from that side, being able to share it with every generation is the most joyous thing about Doctor Who to me. It's for everyone and anyone, and it doesn't exclude. It shines light on the outsiders being on the inside, and I really love that.
Deep.
Oh
no,
yeah, she's been a great ambassador for Doctor Who, I think.
Yeah, like absolutely, like her kind of chemistry behind the scenes as well. I think it's a highlight of her. Even in like COVID times, she did that video.
Yeah, she did videos for kids and stuff.
Yeah. I think that's like really important. Like, I mean, that's the attitude to have to every actor who has played this role. I mean, I like them all. I mean, obviously, I like more than others, obviously, but I honestly think that's the charm about this character, that it does hold on to you as an actor, or and that it's always in you. You can't ever move on from it.
Yeah,
you're part of history now.
Yeah,
you're part of a larger whole. But yeah, I just think
speaking
for her,
to the microphone.
But I just think for her, obviously, to be leaving, it's a shame, because I don't think I've clicked with her as much with the others. in this era, but I do believe it's very tougher to carry that burden to be like, yeah, like I'm the first one here. I'm planting this torch, and I hope I like get it right. But that's not just up to her as well. You know, it's up to the whole like team behind the scenes, like Chris and Akinola or whatnot. You know, to get it right. But yeah, it's just it's interesting. I mean, it honestly feels like time's just flown by. It honestly feels like series 11 was like not that long ago.
Yeah,
but it's just flown by. That was what, like 2018,
yeah.
And now we're in 2021. It doesn't, you know, it's just flown by.
17.
Yeah,
because there was a year where there wasn't a series.
Oh yeah, could have got aired in 18, but she was like, oh yeah, no, true, yeah, because at the end of
Her first series.
Twice Upon a Time was the last yeah, cool.
But then they had the first series of Journey, then there was a year where there wasn't a series.
Yeah. That was it, yeah. So it generally feels like time is like flown by.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's been longer than 3 years.
No, honestly it has. And it's going to be interesting to see how these specials are handled. If they're going to be like, you know, it'd be interesting to see how they're going to get aired as well. We could have like an Easter one, you know,
so you get a New Year's one.
Yeah.
You then get an Easter one and then a centenary one, which is October time.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Yeah. So here we go.
Nicely spread out.
Yeah, no. Like,
and then a year later, you get the 60th, which means no New Year or Christmas special for 2022, unfortunately. I've just had a quick look online. There's no Doctor Who news that we've missed as of now.
Is it not? Oh, first.
Anything else that we haven't spoken about that you wish to speak about? Before we hand over to the next part of the show?
Trying to think. I mean, I know we've covered a lot. I mean, as I said right at the start, I just really like the Sontarans and how they're here again in their prime. I just think that's sick.
Anyway, you might be thinking that I'm now going to hand over to me and Harry talking about the 11th hour, but you will be greatly surprised by what's going to come next, unless you've looked at the thumbnail, looked at the episode title. So, onwards into the watch-along segment, which isn't the 11th hour. What could it be?
Ooh. Shut up! Shut up! Shut it down, pop up!
Humans are better in one respect. You are better at subscribing. Seek, locate, subscribe.
What's the point in having you all?
Everybody, we're here. It's the watch along part. It's the bit where we watch an episode of Doctor Who. If you were expecting me and Harry to talk about the 11th hour, you're going to be massively disappointed because we're not talking about the 11th hour. And Harry isn't here. He's still here. He hasn't left. Harrison Tinley, how are you?
Hello. Yes, I'm here. I'm the replacement for this week.
Yes, all week you were here for the news, you're here for the watch-along, you're here for the next 4 watch-alongs, including this one.
I am indeed,
because
yes.
For the first time on Bigger on the Inside, to see us out through 2021 until the new year, where we will do the 11th hour. It's already been recorded. We're doing The Ark in Space by...
Robert Holmes.
Well done.
Yeah.
Harrison, what did you think of The Ark in Space?
So, after part 1, I'm really enjoying it. This is always like a classic in Classic Who, as like New Who has its like, you know, revered episodes. This is like one for Classic Who, but like it's great. Obviously, it's very different to New Who, isn't it? We've had like the pacing of it in itself. Yeah, it's a lot slower.
One thing I noticed was that there is differences, but it does. I'm watching it and I was thinking, oh, this looks like Doctor Who more than Doctor Who does, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm looking at it and there's the Doctor, Sarah, and Harry. I'm guessing this is Harry's first episode, not first time travelling in the TARDIS.
I think it is. I'm not too sure. Obviously, I know, you know, like it's not like it's Sarah's, as you're aware.
Yeah.
But, I think it might be Harry's. I'm not
because
sure.
This is only the second serial, isn't it, for Tom Baker?
It is the second serial for Tom Baker. Yes, after Robot.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how it like directly follows on from that, but. Yeah, it's interesting to watch this, like having to watch like Flux now, which is currently airing. Obviously, it's, you know, just to see that contrast.
Last episode, we have just talked about the last episode.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
In the news bit before this.
Yeah. Ah, that's your phone.
My Alexa's going off.
What
does it want?
I'm trying to get that.
It's probably
Don't worry, folks. This is all part of the plan.
like washing it.
This is quality content right here, uninterrupted.
Just let me stop this. How do I stop an Alexa?
Oh, right, he just needs to do his
Stop.
laundry.
Alexa, stop! There we go.
There we go. Cool. Yes,
Yeah,
don't
anyway,
worry.
it feels like Doctor Who, but there are noticeable differences, such as the lack of music.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? I mean, I kind of like the lack of music. It does create that atmosphere, which is quite nice.
It makes it more relaxing to watch, I feel. I could see myself watching this on a Sunday evening more than watching current Doctor. I feel the current Doctor Who belongs on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree.
This is more Sunday night, really, sort of chilling out.
I would completely agree, because it's a lot, as you said, it's a lot like slower, and this is part 1 of a part 4.
Yeah.
So how it paces itself as well, it takes its time. Unlike this current era where we're going from location to location to location,
man.
and we're constantly in this arc,
I also
in
know,
space.
yeah.
Funny enough.
The sound as well is not great.
Yeah, I mean,
by that I mean if a character turns and faces away from the camera, we can't hear them.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, the audio at times is a bit muffled. But you get the gist of what they're saying, but it's not always clear. I guess obviously filming's obviously changed, but at times it's a bit okay. I can't always hear the exposition or the techno babble that I need to hear.
Yeah. Should we talk about the characters?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the Doctor or Sarah Jane because everybody's. But let's talk about Harry.
Let's talk about Harry. Yeah.
Bit of an idiot, isn't he? Really.
He is. I mean, how he opens up, and I love that moment, which is a classic Who clip of him going when the Doctor turns to Harry, it's like, oh, you're learning, you're finally using your mind, and it's like if he doesn't take him seriously, we as an audience are going to struggle. But I guess it kind of works well, and I know I know over time obviously he develops as a character, but this is early on for him. But it's funny how even the Doctor's aware of that, and they just embrace it.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where it's where they go into the room with all the frozen bodies, and he just opens one up, and I'm it's not a good bit. He's meant to be a Doctor as well, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I believe he is. Yeah, I believe he's meant to be a Doctor, but Harry, but I agree with you. Harry just opened up that thing. I'm like, you're not going to check it. You don't know if that's going to do anything. This is the future.
I liked it when the Doctor's like, which flick did you switch? He's like, this one, but nothing happened. I'm like, did you miss that giant frigging wall?
I just find it funny as well how he openly sees that slug in the hallway, and he says, "I think I saw something," and the Doctor's just instantly
let's save
that. You didn't.
Let's save that towards the end.
Yeah, sure.
Sarah Jane, very much a damsel in distress.
It's just
she doesn't do much in this story.
She's
a lot of laying down and sleeping.
It is very much a shame. I mean, I guess that is the product of the time, a classic Who that does happen in a lot of her episodes. But it's just it's hard to watch that, having watched Sarah Jane Adventures now, and thinking, oh my god. But
I also wonder if the producers were trying to make more time for Harry, because Sarah's carrying on from John.
Very true. Yeah.
So audiences are already familiar with Sarah, so they're trying to make more room for Harry and sort of
that is a good point. Yeah, I didn't
Harry
even
in your
think about
the audience.
that.
What did you think to the automatic guard thing that shoots the Doctor's hat? I thought that was quite a fun.
I thought it was quite interesting, having Harry and the Doctor in that situation. You don't normally. I mean, I know it happens in New Who, but I thought how contained it was. You just got this simple turret, and they have to avoid it. I think this it worked well as a scene. Us just could talk about the actual CGI or whatnot. Obviously, it's classic Who. But it worked well.
Yeah. I tend to hate these type of episodes where they're locked on a spaceship.
Yeah.
42, Planet of the Dead.
Face Under the Siege, you're not a fan of?
Yeah, that's it. Is it Planet of the Dead? Not Planet. Yeah, Planet of the Youth, sorry. Yeah, Base and Under Siege.
Yeah, that's like the template.
I tend to dislike them because of the ensemble cast.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have an ensemble cast so far.
It doesn't even have it yet, does it? Or yet to be introduced.
So I'm quite enjoying the dynamic between the Doctor and his companions. I quite like that.
Yeah.
Just seeing through those. Anything that stood out to you that you enjoyed?
I just love. I mean, I know it's a very small thing. I love the grins that Tom just has.
Yeah.
Just so iconic. You just think, you know, like, I presume this is quite early on in his, you know, obviously it's in season 12, so this will be early on for him recording. But you can just tell he's enjoying this role so much.
Yeah, I got a lot of 12th Doctor vibes.
Yeah, you know, in the smirk he does.
Yeah, the smirks, like, they're just a random, like, just paragraphs of text, not paragraphs of text, but, like, just little mini speeches that he gives that are very proclaimed.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I like it a lot, but I really like the pacing of this so far. It's a lot slower than obviously to New Who.
But it's not boring.
It isn't boring, no. Obviously, like, it is at times you do hear a lot of exposition and you think, okay, right, cool, just...
Yeah.
But, like, it is enjoyable because you're constantly hooked. I mean, it clearly, like, you know, even one of Tom's lines is like, oh yeah, there's a mystery here, Harry, and it's like, wink to the audience.
What did you think to the giant blob that we get? There's a big green blob smirking around the
the slug thing,
spaceship. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I actually quite like how it's like done. That you only get glimpses of it as Harry does. Yeah, and obviously it's not clearly in like a centre. Obviously, you know, the closest you get to that is at the end of part 1 when you get that mantis thing coming out.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I like how you only see the monsters as much as the characters do.
That's quite good. Yeah, they don't really do that anymore, do they?
I don't, because half the time you just have the Daleks and whatnot, like always behind the scenes, and you like always see that.
Yeah.
So I like it's all kind of, and like it's really cool that although this is a part 1, we don't really know what's happening still. We have questions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to watch part 2 in a minute. But no, I'm enjoying this one.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm slightly apprehensive because sometimes with New Who I can be really sort of distant from it and just think this is crap.
Yeah.
But pardon me, I'm really enjoying this.
You know, and like I kind of like the old format that Classic Who has. Like, it's not in any hurry. Because I get the vibe in like New Who a lot, right? They're like, okay, right, we've only got like 45 minutes to tell this one story, all this exposition, characters, etc., blah blah blah. Where here's it's like it's clearly taking its time.
What do you think to the shorter running time? About 20 minutes, half an hour.
I'm not gonna lie, and I've always. I mean, it's interesting because although I grew up on New Who, so obviously I'm now obviously a lot more integrated to that running time.
Yeah.
I do really like these long drawn outness. I mean, at times in Classic Who,
now, though, I don't think.
Yeah, like I mean, like at times in Classic Who when you got like 8 parts, it is a bit of a struggle sometimes. But I think the 4-part format works well if it's handled well. I know in some other stories the pacing's all over the place, but here it works well. You've got a spaceship, mystery on it. You've got the cool characters. That's it. Like it's set up in it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I
mean, I'm sort of struggling with stuff to say because it is just an episode of Doctor Who.
I mean, it's a lot harder to grade it without obviously having like watched the whole, but it works.
Yeah,
it works well on its own. I mean, I think that's the issue I'm having with I think that's the issue a lot of us are going to have in hindsight with Flux, where it's like, how do you watch these on their own without thinking how it ties in?
That's true.
But
That's true.
It works on its own. It works well, but I'm interested to see the greater whole it fits into.
Should we move on with the rest of the show, Harrison?
I saw that.
We're not going to do a quiz because there wasn't really much quizzy stuff. But let's do recommendations where we recommend something outside of the Doctor Who fandom.
All right.
It can be anything. It can be another movie, another TV show, some music, some
Sure
advice, a book. Since you're the guest,
all right then.
What would you like to recommend?
Oh, you're gonna hate me for this because I'm on about to you all the time, but I'll do my shameless plug for everyone. I mean, you know, like I presume to like a majority of you guys here in this like Doctor Who, you've heard of Merlin. So watch Merlin. It's amazing. It came out kind of at the time of like Doctor Who as well. So if you grew up on New Who, you might have heard of Merlin. But if you haven't,
does it still hold up?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it's very much more contained than Doctor Who. But it's definitely a lot of the production team on New Who Doctor Who are on Merlin. Well, were on Merlin, I should say. But yeah, so that's
what happened with the last series of Merlin in regards to the channels it was on?
Yeah, so I mean, it was always been on like BBC One. How Merlin operated. Merlin operated in the winter period when Doctor Who is normally in the spring period. So it was like the BBC's answer to like family entertainment in like winter, essentially. But yeah, it was always broadcasted on BBC One. with the last episode being aired on Christmas Day. I mean Christmas Eve 2012, I should say.
Yeah.
And if you know the ending of Murding, then you know the implications of that. That's all I'll say there. But yeah, that's my.
But did it move to
shameless plug.
CBBC?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, like for reruns, perhaps, but it was always aired on BBC One. But for reruns, potentially, mate. I can definitely see that happening.
I'm trying to think if I've got anything to recommend.
Have you got anything to recommend? Back to the Future.
It's got to be so interesting, so different. What have I seen this week? What have I read?
What have you seen this week?
I haven't seen any new TV shows. I haven't listened to any new music.
Seinfeld?
That's a long time ago. We recommended Seinfeld a while ago.
Like It Crowd? I presume you've already done that.
Yeah, man, you got to be different. It's got to be something people won't know about.
I'm trying to think if I was you, like what I would have seen this.
I'll tell you what, guys. I'm just gonna recommend chilling out. It's nearly Christmas. I fucking hate Christmas.
Yeah, I'm the same. Actually. None of us like Christmas.
Don't get caught up in like the stress of Christmas. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Have fun.
It's effort.
Don't like panic about stuff. Just chill out. Have fun.
Yeah.
And on that note, like and comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell.
Turn it on.
All the socials are in the description below. Next week, we will have. It might already be out by the time this podcast goes live. Is our interview with Johnny, who plays Passenger in Doctor Who, as well as Harry will be back for news next week.
Return of the King.
But Harrison will still be here for the watch.
Oh yeah, I'm still here
until the end of the year. We're going to do Ark in Space because it just quite nicely sees us through into the 11th hour.
Definitely.
So I'll say goodbye. Ta-ra, everybody. Harrison, do you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, thanks for having me on as always. And ta-ra, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Big on the Inside podcast.
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.